I currently have the car in the air because I'm going to be installing my new xoxox LSD today. I know I've done like 2 videos installing and removing my welded diff, but today we're finally getting an LSD, a real LSD, and it's a xoxox one. I've jacked up the car. I've already removed the axle on this side because I wanted to make sure that it did in fact fit with the LSD, because I know there's like 2 different models, and it does. So I am ready to remove the other side. I've already drained the oil. There it is right there. I removed that plug to let the air out, and then that bottom plug to drain it. Just remove those 4 nuts right here with the 14mm wrench. And now that they're off, we can start hammering the axle out. And hopefully it comes out with ease, since I just removed it not that long ago. The other side was a little bit difficult, but I think this side should be easier. I've jerked it like this. And also, there's the second axle. And something that I've learned the hard way is to try to put the bolts back where they go. That way you don't lose them. Or if it's something you don't do very often, sometimes it's easy to forget where stuff goes. So I'm going to put these 2 back there. And then I'm going to put these nuts onto here for now. That way, when anybody ever asks like, oh, any advice you have, yes, be organized. That is the one thing that I feel like can make stuff just take twice as long, is looking for tools and looking for nuts and bolts that you've lost along the way. So if there's anything I've learned working on my car over the years, is to stay organized. It's something that I struggle with a lot and I always regret it, but hopefully this is a helpful tip for you. And now when we put it back together, everything's there. We have to do is screw it back into place, and we're not struggling. Next, I'm going to be removing the drive shaft, which is my least favorite part, and I'm sure I've said this 1,000,001 times in all of my videos, but I'm going to be using 2 12mm open ends, so 1 on each side. Then I'm going to let the drive shaft hang, and then we'll be ready to remove the diff. And once the 4 bolts are removed, we can just set this to the side right there. Now I'm going to remove all the nuts around the diff, and there's a lot of them. I got the diff out. It was a bit of a struggle. I had to take a break because this thing was kicking my butt, but it's out. And I'm going to keep it as a spare diff. Nothing's wrong with it. It's been welded. You guys probably saw in a previous video. Out with the old and in with the new. I'm very excited that I don't have to clean this one because it's already clean. I just have to clean the housing and the inside of that, and we should be good to install it. The diff is in. That was difficult because if you have a Corolla and you have that diff, you know how heavy that thing is. But I managed to put it in. I'm going to clean where the axle sits with a blade. According to the manual, there's a gasket that goes here and a gasket that goes here, but I don't have it. So I'm gonna clean this on both sides, add a little bit of silicone, install the axle, and then just reassemble everything. After I assembled everything, I took the car out around the block and I heard some really strange noises. Now, usually when you put a new LSD, there's a little bit of shattering noises, but that goes away after you break it in. But this was a lot of clunking. It didn't sound right, and it also sounded like it was skipping. So the next day I had a drift event. I had to figure this situation out the morning of, because that is the only time I had to figure it out. It's 5 a.m. and we're currently removing the axles. As you saw, I installed a new diff, and this side had a ton of play that I hadn't noticed until I started driving it yesterday and I heard some noises. I think that one of my axles was Zenki and I ordered a cookie diff, or both of my axles, not sure. We're testing it out now. We just measured it, and I swear we had measured it before we actually had the guy, build the LSD for us, and it was 25 millimeters like it's supposed to be. This one measures 24 now, so we don't know what the heck is going on, like if we accidentally got a different axle or what. But my friend let me borrow his Koki axles, so I'm actually putting them in right now so I could see if that fixes that skipping issue. Either the axles are wrong or something internally is wrong. Hopefully it's the axles. So he let me borrow his axles. We're gonna slap it on right now, test the car out, and if it's good to go, that means I told them it was a Koki when it's actually a Zenki. So I'm gonna have to either get new axles or get new side gears. So we just took off. We measured it. This is the axle my friend let me borrow, and visually you could see how much thicker this one is. I think that's the reason why it's skipping with that one, because I have the wrong axles. And we also measured it with the caliper, and this one's 24.9. This one's about 23.9.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, one of us effed up when using the caliper the first time. It turns out that I ordered the wrong LSD. I was supposed to order a Zenki LSD. I should have had a Koki rear end. At some point, that got swapped out, so that is why I ordered the wrong LSD, and my friend's axles worked. Thanks to him, I was able to drive that night. Once I got back, I gave him his axles back, and I was having a hard time sourcing new ones, so I just sent my LSD back and got new side gears installed. Even though it was a mistake on my part, I feel like I learned a lot by making that mistake. I also think that I'm a professional at removing and installing my diff now. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!